When the kidnappers asked Joseph to choose between us, he gave up his childhood sweetheart and chose me. But I didn't go with him. I knew he'd regret it. In my previous life, it was the same. After I was rescued, Joseph's childhood friend had inappropriate photos taken by the kidnappers, and that same night, she went home and took her own life. Joseph acted like he didn't care. He married me as planned, but after the wedding, he made my life a living hell. 7 years later, when I finally forced him to agree to a divorce, he lost control. On the way to finalize it, he drove the car off a cliff. Even in his final moments, he blamed me. It was always our debt to Chloe. This life was meant to atone for her, so who are you to live in peace? So now, with a second chance at life, I won't live like that again. Jessica, come with me. The moment I realized I'd been reborn, the kidnappers were pressing a knife to both my and Chloe Tan's necks. They told Joseph to choose one. His gaze lingered on us both. After a fierce internal struggle, just like before, he chose me, but I shook my head firmly. Joseph, you should save Chloe first. In this life, I don't want to owe anyone. I don't want to carry the weight of someone else's life. Hearing that, Joseph actually seemed relieved. Jessica, you're my fiancée, I should save you first. But since you said so, don't blame me. Then he hurriedly left with Chloe, like he was afraid I'd change my mind. But unlike him, I don't regret my choices. In my previous life, Joseph brought money, but the kidnappers raised their demands, saying they'd release only one of us. Joseph had no choice but to pick me. But by the time we returned with more money, the kidnappers had other plans. They took inappropriate photos of Chloe and were about to do worse. We arrived with the police just in time. But even though they hadn't gone through with it, Chloe was already shattered. She went home, and that night, she was gone. Joseph didn't seem to care. He handled her funeral calmly, gave her family a large sum, and when I suggested postponing the wedding, he refused. Jessica, this wedding was long planned. We can't let outsiders affect that. But that so-called outsider haunted him for 7 years. Marrying me, it was just a trap to make me pay for what happened to Chloe. But what did I do wrong? After Joseph and Chloe left, I started thinking of ways to save myself, because this time, I didn't know if Joseph would come back. In the previous life, when Joseph hugged Chloe, he dropped a tracker in her pocket. Even when the kidnappers moved, we could find her fast. But this time, he seemed to have forgotten. I figured from the start, Chloe was always the one he wanted to save. I knew when the kidnappers moved, they'd pass a car repair shop. The mechanics there were tough. In my last life, the kidnappers tried to take over the shop, but the owner fought back. A brawl broke out, and the kidnappers fled. Just like before, they left one man in the car with me. His attention was elsewhere. I bit the door handle, managed to open it, and ran as fast as I could straight to the repair shop. I spotted the shop owner right away. Sharp features, upright, and something about him just felt righteous. I dashed toward him. Too hard, I knocked him over, right into his arms. Pale with fear, I stammered, I'm sorry. Could you please help me? He glanced at me, brow furrowed. Then he grabbed me, rolled us both out of harm's way. Just as a chair crashed where we'd been, the kidnappers realized I'd escaped. A standoff began. I whispered, if you save me, I'll do anything you want. But he didn't answer, just stared at the kidnappers. Someone said, Jonathan, sometimes it's better not to get involved. So his name was Jonathan. I was ready to give up, but Jonathan stepped forward. She's under my protection today. Then, the roar of motorcycles filled the air. Jonathan smiled. My backup's here. The kidnappers cursed and fled. Jonathan cut the ropes from my wrists. My name's Jessica Lynn. Thank you for saving me. I held out my hand, but he kept staring at my bloody wrists. Let me take care of that. I shook my head. It's nothing. Who just promised to do anything if I helped. Without waiting, he sat me down, got a first aid kit, and said, brace yourself. As he cleaned the wound, I remembered after marrying Joseph, he once got drunk. When I asked him gently to drink less, he shoved me. I fell, my jade bracelet shattered, cutting my wrist. Joseph just stared at me coldly. Does it hurt? Chloe's pain was 1,000 times worse, and she can't cry out anymore. If it weren't for saving you, she wouldn't have been humiliated. I'd stared at him in disbelief. But the kidnappers took us to threaten you. You chose me first. Why blame me? Joseph just said, I never wanted this marriage. If you hadn't told Grandma you liked me, she wouldn't have forced us. So if it weren't for me, you'd only have needed to save Chloe, right? Joseph, you're ridiculous. Now, Jonathan gently blew on my wound. What are you doing? I asked. When I was a kid, my mom did this. Feel better? I nodded. Much better. At school, he casually blocked a ball that was about to hit me on the basketball court. Under the sunlight, he looked especially handsome. A few beads of sweat glistening on his forehead. He tilted his head slightly, a hint of arrogance in his voice, and said, Careful, classmate. That cool tone. It only took one glance for me to fall for him. Back then I was too shy. I muttered a quick thanks and ran away. After that, I began to notice him more. I found out he had a close childhood friend, but it seemed like that's all they were. My silent crush during those years was quiet, but it quietly grew in my heart. Later, even just bumping into him or exchanging a glance would make my heart race and my face flush. I knew I probably wouldn't have much say in my future marriage. So when I found out that Joseph was my arranged marriage partner, I was happy for a long time. My parents liked Joseph too. They kept in touch with him more than with me. In my previous life, when I asked for a divorce, my parents were completely against it. Joseph is capable and even puts up with your bad habits. You should be grateful instead of making us worry. I knew that ever since we married, the Lin and Shen families' interests were tied together, and getting a divorce wasn't easy. So I endured year after year until I developed depression and began self-harming just to force Joseph to agree to a divorce. Now that I have a second chance, I want to live for myself this time. That's why I don't want to go home. But then I remembered something I still needed to deal with, so I had to. Before leaving, I took Jonathan's phone, entered my number, and called my own phone. Once I heard it ring, I handed his phone back. Remember to save my number. I'll come find you in a few days. With that, I hailed a taxi and left. From start to finish, I didn't give Joseph a single glance. When I got home, my parents were waiting. Before I could say anything, they started scolding me. Joseph told us what happened today. Can you stop being so reckless in the future? Those were kidnappers, Jessica. You could have been killed. And you told Joseph to save someone else first? Mom sighed. How can we trust you with the company if you keep behaving like this? They didn't trust me. In my last life, they handed the company over to Joseph so they could chase their own dreams. Then Dad spoke up from the sofa. Let's just get the wedding done soon. I don't agree, I said, leaving no room for argument. I came back to tell you that tomorrow I'm going to the Shen family to call off this engagement. Whether you agree or not, this time I'm deciding. And don't even think about threatening me with the company. Give it to whoever you want. I don't want it anymore. In this life, I know the trends of the next 7 years. I won't end up destitute. I went back to my room. They must be even more disappointed in me now, right? I didn't care anymore. The next day, I got up early, but I was surprised Mom had made breakfast and was waiting for me. And Fang told me you got up looking for food last night. It's my fault. I forgot to ask if you had dinner. I froze. Why was she suddenly so gentle? She tucked a lock of hair behind my ear and spoke softly. Your father and I reflected last night. Maybe we've been using the wrong approach. We wanted you to be independent, so we didn't spoil you, afraid it'd make you arrogant. If you want to make your own decisions, that's fine. We're not going to force you to marry into the Shen family. Does this mean they're agreeing to let me break off the engagement? I felt a pang of sadness. Little Jessica had argued, fought, tried so hard and got scolded. Later, she learned to be obedient, hoping to earn attention, but they only saw her as weak. Now, all it took was for me to be tough, and they finally changed their minds. The idea of the Lin and Shen family alliance had started with Joseph's grandmother. At a tea banquet, I saved Mrs. Shen when she fainted from low blood sugar. She was grateful and insisted on making me her goddaughter. I often visited the Shen family's old house. That's where I met Joseph. Mrs. Shen noticed my feelings for him immediately. That's how things unfolded. Now I had to tell her I wanted to cancel the engagement. It felt wrong. She'd even given me the Shen family's heirloom bracelet. Joseph arrived before me with Chloe at his side. Dressed formally like they were ready to get engaged. As soon as I left, I put the bracelet on the table. Joseph grabbed my wrist. What's the meaning of this? Right. I told him to meet me here, but not why. Mrs. Shen looked at us and asked gently, Jessica, did Joseph do something to hurt you? She shot Chloe a sharp glance. I kept my voice calm. Grandma Shen, I want to break off the engagement. Joseph's pupils contracted. Why? Because yesterday, you left me to save someone else. Isn't that who you really want to marry? Joseph stammered. Wasn't it you who asked me to save Chloe first? I was testing you. And your answer was clear. Mrs. Shen sighed. Jessica, you're a good child. It's Joseph who isn't worthy, Grandma. Joseph cut her off, gripping my wrist so tightly I thought my bones would break. Jessica, I won't agree to this. Don't even think about it. The pain was sharp. My wounds hadn't healed. I laughed bitterly. If you insist, then tomorrow I'll announce the breakup myself. Let your family be the ones embarrassed. I pried his fingers off and walked away. Joseph chased after me. Just then, Jonathan's motorcycle pulled up. I didn't want more drama. Sorry, my boyfriend's here to pick me up, Joseph sneered. Are you sure you want to be with this poor guy? You think he can make you happy? Better than being with someone like you. I walked toward Jonathan, but Joseph grabbed my wrist again. Ouch, I winced. He finally noticed my injury. Flustered, he said, I didn't know. I smiled coldly. As if you'd care. Jonathan had had enough. One punch. Joseph was on the ground. Stay away from her, Jonathan warned. He handed me a helmet, started the bike, and we sped off. As we raced down the mountain roads, I leaned against him, the wind blowing away the ugliness of what just happened. Where does my girlfriend want to go? I laughed softly. Since you're calling me that, I want to see your place, and I'm hungry. No problem. I'm a decent cook. 4 dishes. Done. His laughter echoed through the mountains, and for once, I felt truly free. Brother Ming is good to all of us. I raised an eyebrow. Oh, tell me about it. Most of the people who work here at the repair shop came from really hard backgrounds, Daniel began. A lot of us have some kind of challenge. Like Rue, he works on engines. He can't speak, but just by listening to a car, he can tell what's wrong. Then there's Juan, who handles maintenance. He has a limp. And Ken, he does painting. He can't even read. When they first came to the city, they were just looking for a way to survive. But with disabilities, no education, and no skills, it was almost impossible to find a decent job. Brother Ming took them in, taught them, gave them food and a place to stay, and even paid them. Over time, they became loyal to him. They'd follow him anywhere. I nodded, impressed. And you? What about you? For the first time, Daniel's face turned serious. I met Brother Ming 5 years ago. I'd crossed the wrong people and was nearly beaten to death. He saved me. From that moment on, I swore I'd follow him for life. If anyone dares mess with him, they'll have to step over my dead body first. I felt deeply moved. All my life, I'd been surrounded by loneliness, so few people who truly cared. And yet, Jonathan had gathered this group, loyal to him to the core. I felt a sudden envy and longing to see him. Do you know where he went? Daniel thought. For a second, he didn't say exactly, just that someone was looking for him near Tiancheng Plaza. I was about to leave when Daniel added, as if remembering something. Oh, by the way, Brother Ming's actually pretty well off. Just really low-key about it. He told us not to call you sis, said since you're from a wealthy family, we should say miss. I frowned. Why was Jonathan still so old-fashioned? I never imagined that walking into a cafe at Tiancheng Plaza, I'd see Jonathan with Chloe. Her eyes were red, as if she'd been crying, and Jonathan sat quietly, his brows furrowed as he listened. I watched. After a while, Chloe stood and moved to sit closer to him. My gut twisted something wasn't right. The old me would have left, blocked Jonathan, and been done. But this time, I wanted to trust him. Just as I stepped forward, Jonathan suddenly stood, as if trying to escape. Then our eyes met. He looked stunned, then quickly walked over. Jessica. Chloe followed, her expression urgent. Mr. Ming, if you can just agree. She stopped when she saw me, but quickly recovered. Jessica, what are you doing here? Are you here to see Mr. Ming too? She said sweetly, leaning closer to him, but Jonathan stepped away, moving to my side. His expression carried a trace of guilt. Jessica, I cut him off, voice firm. We'll talk later. Chloe's face darkened. Jessica, I really underestimated you. I shrugged. Yeah, I think so too. Her face turned green, white, red like an overturned paint palette. It was almost funny. In this life, I wasn't someone who let myself suffer a loss anymore. That night, at home, Jonathan and I sat on the sofa in silence. Finally, he spoke. Aren't you going to ask? Didn't you say you came back to deal with me? If you want to tell me, you will. If you don't, asking won't change anything. I replied softly. He was quiet, then asked, do you know why Chloe came to see me? I shook my head. She wanted to talk about that land in South City. The land use rights are in my hands, something my father left me. I froze. No wonder. Chloe had gone to him directly. Joseph must have told her. You don't think I approached you for that land, do you? I asked, suddenly uncomfortable. Jonathan cupped my face. Fool. I did wonder at first, but I dismissed it. I trust my judgment, like when you saved Daniel and the others. No, I helped out of kindness. You, I saved because I was moved. You're good at flirting, I pouted. Jonathan tilted my head up, kissed me softly. It's not flirting, it's sincere, natural, instinct. My cheeks burned. I buried my face in his chest, hearing his thunderous heartbeat. Jonathan, I like you just as much as you like me. He said nothing. He just held me tighter, as if he wanted me to become a part of him. The next morning, Jonathan handed me a document, a land transfer agreement. Are you crazy? Do you know what this means? I've withdrawn from the auction. You want the land, I have it, so take it. I blinked back tears. Then I grabbed his hand. Before you sign, come with me. I took him to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Are you sure about this? He asked over and over. I grinned. Aren't you afraid I'll take your land and leave you for someone richer and better looking? He frowned thoughtfully. Hard to find. Someone better looking, exactly. That's why I'm marrying you. We just left the bureau when Joseph appeared. His fists clenched, trembling. You really chose him. Crazy, I muttered. He grabbed my arm, tears falling. Jessica, I regret it. Please, forgive me. Regret what? Not saving me? Not treating me well? He slapped himself. I was blinded. It's all Chloe's fault. Please, trust me one last time. I've always loved you. I pulled away. What are you after? The only person you've ever loved is yourself. His tears flowed harder. I'm not alone anymore, Joseph. My husband, he's strong, and he has people who'd fight for him. Go ahead, try. I noticed Chloe watching from the distance. I hoped she finally saw the truth. After I secured the land, my father handed me the company. Chloe left the country, exposing Joseph's lies on social media. The Shen family collapsed. Joseph came to me, hollow and broken. I have depression. I finally understand your pain. This is my punishment. This isn't punishment. It's a blessing. You've made up for your past regrets. Heaven's been kind to you. That was the last I saw him. 3 months later, Joseph drowned himself. Jonathan, massaging my shoulders, said, "People with bad character don't go far." How far do you think we'll go? With our character? 100 years wouldn't be too much, of course not. And a good meal? I kissed him. Not too much at all.